So, having washed our bodies, having, hi there, Kari and John, having had our morning movement and maybe a cup of coffee or some tea, hi there, Miss M. We're ready to take refuge. We're ready to come home, ready to be in the most wonderful way that we can be. Thank you so much, Nathan, for that comment. So some teachings from Bodhidharma. The Dharma body, and what is the Dharma? The spiritual body, the body of freedom, the body of enlightenment, the body of realization, the body of ultimate essence, ultimate truth that is unconditional, that doesn't depend on anything being the way that we want it to be. Wow, Nathan, you're really going all out with these comments. Thank you. Wonderful. So this Dharma body, the formless, ultimate, wonderful freedom is formless. The Dharma body has no form. Therefore, one sees it by no seeing. Dharma is soundless. Therefore, one hears it by no hearing. Insight or wisdom does not have knowing. Therefore, one knows by no knowing. If one takes seeing as seeing, then there is something that is not seen. If one takes no seeing as seeing, then there is nothing that is not seen. If one takes knowing as knowing, then there is something that is not known. If one takes no knowing as knowing, then there is nothing that is not known. Insight or wisdom is capable of knowing itself, and so it is not something that has knowing, and yet, because it knows vis-a-vis things, it is not something that lacks knowing. So let's go with the knowing here, this Dharma of knowing. If one takes knowing as knowing, then there is something that is not known. So if you take that you know something, hi, I know something, then you are automatically in a position of not knowing something else, maybe not knowing the opposite of what you know, or another aspect of what can be known. If one takes no knowing as knowing, then there is nothing that is not known. So if you take true knowing to know nothing, then there is nothing that is not known. Everything is known in unknowing. If you rely on some kind of resolution in your life, you have some problem that you need to be resolved, then even if that problem is resolved, there's still many problems that are not resolved, such as the problem of that resolution being temporary and conditional. But if you take no resolution, nothing being resolved to be your resolution, then there is nothing that is not left unresolved. Now, in terms of understanding that or grasping that, we have to come back to this dharma body or this spiritual body or this Buddha body or this total truth body, this freedom body, right? So this truth body, this dharma body is formless. Therefore, it has no form, it has no structure, it has no thingness to it, right? So therefore, we see this dharma body or we see this truth body by no seeing. The dharma is soundless, so we hear it by no hearing. Wisdom does not have knowing. Therefore, we know wisdom by no knowing. So this then is this Buddha way, or this awakened way, is to be complete, to be finished, to be totally in the here and now without explanation, without description, without being trapped by any aspect of the things that are here. It's to be truly, freely, wholly here. And free from this here-ness is free from an aspect of here. It's free from here itself, right? So truly being here is nowhere. Truly being here is being nowhere. And the practice is our getting acquainted and getting familiar with being nowhere, and also our willingness to be nowhere. Our willingness to step back from the somewhereness, from the judgment about what we're currently experiencing, as it being good or as it being bad, or as it being something that could be improved. Are you following along with that? So then this knowing, this wisdom knowing, this Buddha knowing, this enlightenment knowing is like this, okay? If one takes knowing as knowing, then there is something that is not known. If one takes no knowing as knowing, then there is nothing that is not known. You could be wrapped so tightly that nothing comes out. That's not nirvana, just saying, well, this is openness, this is flexibility. This is contemplative exploration of the way that things actually are. And the Dharma, or the teaching here, is to pull out the seeds in the wart of our mind of grasping, of attachment, of wrongly placed importance, wrongly placed arrogance, wrongly placed pride, right? It's making it into an intellectual thing, or it's making it into a thing where someone can be right or wrong. And this is saying that what's really right doesn't rely on right or wrong. What's really true doesn't rely on the duality of something being true or being false. That's what this is helping us with here. That's why it's the Dharma, right? And it's formless, so the great Zen saying is, don't take the finger pointing for the moon. And that's the confusion that any of us here can fall into if we see one of these teachings or we hear that we have a certain experience and then we take that experience to be a thing, right? This experience of enlightenment doesn't have anything, doesn't depend on anything. It's free. The map is not the territory, that's right. And people who overly rely on maps, they may find themselves quite lost where they are in the wilderness of life. And this is all we have, this is the energy that we can give, the attention that we can give to the here-ness or the naturalness or the wholeness of what already is, right? That is the health and wealth and purification and transformation and development. That's us giving all the horsepower to our body and mind's capacity to regulate, to heal, to transform whatever needs to be transformed, right? You're energizing your nuclear reactor of presentness. Because that's where all this is happening. That's where the brain is happening, the heart's happening, the body's happening. That's where all of the anti-cancer properties are taking place and exfoliating and expressing themselves is in the here and now. So if we're lost in these philosophies or narratives or complicated views that are keeping us fixated in otherness or something like confusing the map for the territory, you can imagine why so much sickness can come up and proliferate unnecessarily. So if one takes, now let's go back here kind of into the world of debate and the world of being right? The world of being involved in politics or just being right, going around and being right. Hi, Shelley. If one takes no knowing as knowing, then there is nothing that is not known. So you have two people here, two sides, right? One person who they know that this is right, and the other person that takes the side of they don't know anything. So the person on this side is completely and totally right in not knowing anything. But the person on this side that knows they're right about something is conditionally stuck in being right about that thing. So there's many things that they're not right about. And so you have this person who's holding a flag and getting it, starting a war, starting a fight, building up their ego based on that they're right about this one thing. But there's all these other things that they're not right about or that they don't know about. So this is an ignorant and confused and attached person. Where on the other hand, you have someone who does not know anything or doesn't know that they're right about anything. So in that unknowing, they are right about everything. That person who's attached to being right about this one thing is only apparently right about this one thing, but they're wrong about everything else because their attachment to being right about that one thing doesn't apply to anything else. Where the position of unknowing, the position of not necessarily being right about anything is complete, is total, is all-inclusive. Great to have you here, Rock. So if one takes knowing as knowing, then there is something that is not known. If one takes no knowing as knowing, then there is nothing that is not known. Wisdom or insight is capable of knowing itself, and so it is not something that has knowing, and yet because it knows vis-a-vis things, it is not something that lacks knowing. So it is immediate in the here and now, and it is only dependent upon itself. And this self is any apparent thing. So that any apparent thing can be this doorway towards the absolute, or the absolute in and of itself. Whereas when we attach to knowing something or being attached to our dualistic position of understanding, we won't be free when things change, which they always do. So the insight or the wisdom, like the freedom of unknowing, right? Is based on itself. It is like free through and free of itself, and it's unconditionally that way. But when it comes to discernment is all about practicality. It's all about efficacy. It's all about case by case, moment by moment, direct experience, concerned with the direct experience. But what is often, people often have a misplaced idea about discernment as this knowing or this hearing that is based on sound, this knowing that is based on things, right? So like Rock said, confusing the map for the territory. And so this, the way, is very much about how we bring the map and the territory together. The Dharma and the path and the practice is all about bringing the territory together. And that's why either people who have right view or people who have achieved like a Sotapatti or stream entry, the first stage of enlightenment, and or are considered the Sangha of ordained monastics, because this way of renunciation, this way of giving up, allows us to stop confusing the map of our narrative of our life for the territory, which is here and now, right? So it's almost like if you had Civ 5, where you had, I don't know if anyone here knows that game, but it's like a map, war, civilization, dynasty, game. It's like if you had that on your phone, opened up on your computer while you're in the middle of a battlefield. And so this moment by moment life that we find ourselves in, here and now, whatever here and now is for you, is a battlefield. You are in the battlefield. You're in the field of battle. So if you have right view, you can go with the flow. If you do not have right view, you cannot go with the flow. Well, you can't, and also you better not. But just because we have right view, or just because we have that initial turning of the enlightenment kind of thing, that doesn't mean that everything's going to be peachy, because we're not arahat, or we're not fully enlightened. There's still a lot of working out to be done, which is just being human, just being ordinary. Okay, so this inside wisdom is incapable of knowing itself because it's not a thing. It lacks thingness, right? Wisdom lacks thingness. Wisdom is incapable of knowing itself, and so it is not something that has knowing. This is pretty deep. This is a pretty deep cut. It's also very dangerous to teach things that you don't understand. It's very karmically dangerous. So I think, I don't have so much to say about that because life is dangerous, but it may be a part of the reason that you don't find so many people going around and live streaming and teaching the Dharma. Because there are actually many side effects that will keep people from doing that. When you get into deep cuts that you don't have the authority, you don't have permission to actually go into. If you're just looking for yourself, it's okay, but if you're teaching it or sharing it, it's very, very dangerous. But I'm a man who likes to live dangerously. So I'm not too worried about it. Wisdom is incapable of knowing itself because it's not a thing. So if you are aligning yourself to being wise, you shouldn't give importance to attaching onto your own wisdom or wisdom. Like how can impermanence know itself, or how can suffering know itself, or how can no self know itself? How can a cloud know itself, right? How can a mountain grasp itself? So this wisdom is the nature, right? And the nature is incapable of grasping. Nature is incapable of holding on. Nature is incapable of knowing separation. So it is not something that has knowing. And knowing there is a kind of grasping, right? And yet, because it knows vis-a-vis things, it is not something that lacks knowing. So the clear blue sky, or the enlightenment, goes together with the suffering. The appearances of separation go together with no separation. So this dharma body, this nature, this wisdom, right, doesn't leave anything out. It has within it everything, but it is not defined by anything. So we can't say that it lacks something, even though it doesn't grasp onto that thing. And in the same way, we can say, even though we may not experience that, we can't say that the wisdom or the nature has something, even though that thing appears to be there. So, once again, no possession, no ownership. If one takes apprehending as apprehending, there is something that is not apprehended. If one takes no apprehending as apprehending, then there is nothing that is not apprehended. If one takes is as is, there will be something that is not. If one takes having no is as is, there will be nothing that is not. One gate of insight enters 100,000 gates of insight. One sees a pillar and makes the interpretation pillar. This is to see the pillar characteristic and make the interpretation pillar. Observe that mind is the pillar dharma and no pillar characteristic exists. Therefore, when one sees a pillar, it is the apprehension of a pillar dharma. The seeing of all forms is like this. So this T is the Buddha. This T is the sun and moon. Mindfulness with detachment. Don't grasp. This is from Bodhidharma. This is Jeffrey L. Broughton's The Bodhidharma Anthology. So this is some of the records of Bodhidharma that were found in the, I think it's Donghua caves, or some certain special kind of caves that were around. Documents were sealed in this cave in ancient China, and then they were undiscovered for many, many years, and then they were discovered again, and these documents were in there. Buddhist documents, Buddhist records. Very intelligent bats. Bodhidharma. Shaolin really doesn't have anything to do with Buddhism um, in the modern form of that. And it wouldn't be, so in that way, it wouldn't be right to conflate Bodhidharma with the Shaolin. It's kind of not particularly, it's not connected at all, really. So what we really have the wonderful chance to do is very generously bring our mind home to the body and bring awareness, mind awareness, attention, presence into the body, and to relax the body and to express kindness and relaxation and release throughout the body, so that we can actually start to touch a sense of peacefulness, and we can start to touch a profound feeling of wonderfulness. And you can check for yourself if you have access to that, right? Do you have access to bringing the mind home to the body, going into the body, going into the thighs, the legs, the sternum, the chest, the lungs, and relaxing that. It's beautiful, Shelley. This is all about a profound release. So the faith that we keep and develop is the faith that whatever suffering arises can be brought to an end, that suffering can end, and that we personally have the power to end our suffering, regardless of the story behind it, regardless of how it feels. Buddhism is the most simple religion that there is. It points out that there is suffering and that there is a cause of suffering. The cause of suffering is never-ending trying to understand, never-ending trying to get, never-ending trying to avoid. And that there's an ending of that suffering, and that ending of suffering is enlightenment. And that there's a path to ending suffering. And if you want to put the path to ending suffering in the simplest terms, you can say doing more good deeds with awareness and without being attached. So if you are aware of your blinking or not when you meditate, is not as important as coming back to being aware of whatever is in the present. Fully and totally aware and in the body, coming home to the body, coming home to the presence of the present. You really come home to that. You can find there's a great experience of relief and release and truth. That's not about what we think about things. In the same way that there's a truth, or there's a power, or there's a reality about your heart beating moment by moment that has nothing to do with what you think about it. The same with your seeing, your hearing, your smelling, experience of the body, what you taste. So thoughts are ingredients for irrelevance. We can start to see our thoughts as being ingredients of and for irrelevance. See how irrelevant the thoughts that you have are when put against the mirror of awareness. Meditation is very difficult. Life is very difficult because we're trying to get something out of it. We're trying to get something out of everything that is already whole completely. So natural meditation is not trying to get something out of the wholeness of what is already. So the question then is, are you willing to notice how full, how whole, how complete this experience is already? And are you willing to not try to get something out of that? Bodhidharma says, when one does not understand, the person pursues dharmas. When one understands, dharmas pursue the person. When one understands, consciousness draws in forms. When one is deluded, forms draw in consciousness. The non-production of consciousness due to forms is called not seeing forms. Whether there is no seeking in seeking, or seeking in no seeking, there is still your seeking. Whether there is no taking in taking, or taking in no taking, there is still your taking. When mind is in need of something, we call it the realm of desire. When mind is not mind of itself, but is produced due to forms, we call it the realm of form. When forms are not forms of themselves, but are forms because of mind, the fact that mind and forms are formless is called the formless realm. Question: what is called Buddha mind? Answer: the mind having no mark of variation is called thusness. Mind's unchangeableness is called the dharma nature. Mind's not being connected to anything is called liberation. The mind nature's unimpededness is called enlightenment. The mind nature's quiescence is called nirvana. Question, what is called Tathagata? What is called Buddha? Answer, to understand thusness and respond to beings is called Tathagata. Question, what is called Buddha? Answer, to awaken according to dharma, to awaken to the fact that there is nothing to be awakened to is called Buddha. Question, what is called dharma? Answer, mind does not arise in accordance with dharma, and mind does not extinguish in accordance with dharma. This is called dharma. Question, what is called community? Answer, coming together according to dharma is called community. I speak one other language, and that's English. So there's a contrast between apparently relying on people, relying on places, relying on situations, relying on experiences versus relying on mindfulness and detachment. So then, you can take an enlightenment test. What are you relying upon? Are you relying upon mindfulness and detachment? Or are you relying upon the samsaric world of things, of people, places, situations, experiences, etc.? This is not a test that can be passed, like, oh, now I'm enlightened or I'm not. But it is a question for meditative inquiry, self-inquiry into the nature of your experience, or the nature of what it is that you're doing actually. In a meditation retreat, if you are not willing or unable to focus on mindfulness and detachment, or mindfulness without attachment, and you are stuck on focusing on people, places, situations, experiences, etc., you will go insane. And the pointer here is that if you cannot focus on mindfulness and detachment, or if you cannot be aware that mindfulness and detachment is the way, the nature, then you can consider yourself to be insane. You can join the club of insane people here and now. Question. What is called the voidness samadhi? Answer. Gazing at dharmas and abiding in voidness is called the voidness samadhi. Dharmas here is phenomena. Dharmas can mean phenomena. Gazing at phenomena and abiding in voidness is called the voidness samadhi. Question. What is called abiding in dharma? Answer. Neither abiding in abiding nor abiding in non-abiding, but abiding according to dharma. That is called abiding in dharma. Question, what about the phrase, is male but not male, is female but not female? So this may apply to some of our trans community. Answer, when we analyze on the basis of dharma, the characteristics of maleness and femaleness cannot be apprehended. Should you ask how that can be known, it is because forms are not characterized by maleness or femaleness. If forms were characterized by maleness, all the grasses and trees would be male, or they would all be female. Deluded people do not understand, and through false thought see maleness or femaleness. But this is an illusionary maleness and an illusionary femaleness, ultimately without reality. So in the Zen perspective, in the Dharmic perspective, maleness and femaleness are just illusory appearances, an illusion-based perspective, false thought. The Sutra of the Inactivity of All Dharmas, or Chufa Wuxi Ching, says, if you come to know that all dharmas are like an illusion, you will quickly become the foremost of persons. Okay, Michelle, this one's for you. The Sutra of Inactivity of All Dharmas, Chufa Wuxi Ching, says, if you come to know that all dharmas are like an illusion, all phenomena are like an illusion, you will quickly become the foremost of persons. And who wouldn't want that? Question. So here's a question for our Theravada traditional Buddhist friends. When one realizes nirvana while retaining the body and obtains the fruit of an arahant, is it awakening or not? Answer, it is a dream realization. Question, now for our Mahayanas, our friends of the Bodhisattva path. When one practices the 6 perfections, fills up the 10 stages of bodhisattvahood and the 10,000 practices, awakens to the non-arising and non-extinguishing of all dharmas, remains neither awakened nor knowing, has neither mind nor understanding, is it awakening or not? Answer, that is also a dream. Question, the 10 powers and the 4 fearlessnesses, the 18 special dharmas, the path culminating in perfect awakening under the enlightenment tree, the capability of crossing over sentient beings even to the point of entrance into nirvana, how could these not be awakening? Answer, they are also a dream. Question, all the Buddhas of the 3 times of past, present, and future in sameness teaching sentient beings, those who obtain the path being as numberless as the grains of sand of the Ganges, could this not be awakening? Answer, that is also a dream. Listen, it is merely that whatever involves mental discrimination, calculation, and the realm of objects manifested by one's own mind is a dream. When awakened, there is no dreaming. When dreaming, there is no awakening. These are false conceptualizations of thought, mind, and the consciousnesses. They are no more than insights into a dream, in a dream. There is neither an awakener nor something to awaken to. If one awakens according to dharma, when one truly awakens, there is no self-awakening at all. Ultimately, no awakening exists. The perfect awakening of all the Buddhas of the 3 times is but a conceptual discrimination of sentient beings. Because of this, I call it a dream. If the consciousnesses and thought are calmed so that there is not a single pulse of thought, it is to be called perfect awakening. Similarly, whatever there is a thought of, and the consciousness that has not been calmed is a dream. All the Buddhas, all the awakened ones, all the fully awakened ones, of the three times of past, present, and future, in sameness, teaching sentient beings, those who obtain the path being as numberless as the grains of sand of the Ganges. Could this not be awakening? Answer: that is also a dream. It is merely that whatever involves mental discrimination, calculation, and the realm of objects manifested by one's own mind. What does that mean? It means that in reality, in nature, there's no such thing as a giraffe and a tall tree. A giraffe and a tall tree are inseparable. In nature, there's no such thing as a tree and the soil. In nature, tree and soil are the same thing, are in sameness. There's no such thing as an earth that, lives in this part of the galaxy, and Neptune lives in that part of the galaxy. That is an illusion. It is an illusion that me and you are separate. The very notion of me and you is illusory. In the same way that a dream is a dream, and being awake is awake. Those who cannot discern between being awake and being in a dream are sentient beings. Those who see the emptiness of dreaming and wakefulness are enlightened. Answer: that is also a dream. It is merely that whatever involves mental discrimination, calculation, and the realm of objects manifested by one's own mind is a dream. When awakened, there is no dreaming. When dreaming, there is no awakening. These are false conceptualizations of thought.
Another?
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I can do like this also. Good. Come on. Thank you. When awakened, there is no dreaming. When dreaming, there is no awakening. These are false conceptualizations of thought, mind, and the consciousnesses. They are no more than insights in a dream. There is neither an awakener nor something to awaken to. If one awakens according to dharma, when one truly awakens, there is no self-awakening at all. Ultimately, no awakening exists. The perfect awakening of all the Buddhas of the 3 times is but a conceptual discrimination of sentient beings. Because of this, I call it a dream. If the consciousnesses and thought are calmed so that there is not a single pulse of thought, it is to be called perfect awakening. Similarly, whatever there is of thought and the consciousnesses that has not been calmed is a dream. And this is this goes back to the Four Noble Truths, or the simplicity of Buddhism, right? That there is suffering and there is nibbana. There's a cause of suffering, and there's a path to releasing or ending the cause of suffering. Period. That whatever has not been calmed, whatever is causing you to suffer, whatever is wrong, difficult, negative, etc., is a dream. Whatever part of you is not awake and enlightened and free is but a dream. What's that song? Life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Question. In cultivating the path and cutting off delusion, what mental attitude is employed? Answer. Use the mental attitude of devices. Question. What is the mental attitude of devices? Answer. When one examines delusion and realizes that from the outset, delusion has no place to arise from, and by this device is able to cut off doubt and delusion, we call it mental attitude. So where is that unwholesome emotion? Where is that delusion? Where is that negativity? Where is that dreamingness that doesn't allow you to go beyond it? Where does that arise from? And if you look, you cannot find anywhere that it arises from. Where does the anger arise from? Where does the greed arise from? Where does the delusion arise from? Cannot find anywhere for it to arise from. These are coming directly from Bodhidharma. So if you've ever heard the word Zen before, Zen, then this is the founder of Zen in ancient China. So what is the mental attitude of devices? It means that what you're suffering from is the device. And the mental attitude of devices is to look at, to examine what it is that you're suffering from, what it is that you're going through, and to see where did that arise from. Where is that suffering, that depression, that anxiety, that delusion arising from? And what you will see is that it has no place to arise from. And by this device of placelessness of arising, we are able to cut off our doubt and our delusion and to go beyond it. So question, what delusion does the mind that is in accordance with Dharma cut off? Answer, delusions of interpretations concerning common men, women, heretics, hearers, solitary Buddhas, bodhisattvas, and so forth. So we are cutting off all interpretations. What's that like? Do you dare? Are you willing? Are you interested to cut off all interpretations of this nameless unfolding that is free from moments? Question, what are the two truths? What are the two truths? Answer, it is like the simmering of heated air. Deluded people see the air waving due to the heat and understand it as water. But it is really not water. It is the simmering of heated air. The meaning of the two truths is also like this. Common women see the truth of the highest meaning as the worldly truth. Sages see the worldly truth as the truth of the highest meaning. Therefore, the sutras say, when the Buddhas speak Dharma, they always rely upon the two truths. The truth of the highest meaning is the worldly truth, and the worldly truth is the truth of the highest meaning. The truth of the highest meaning is voidness. If you see characteristics of existence, then you must tidy up. If there is self or mind or arising or extinguishing, then further tidy up. Question: how does one tidy up? Answer: if you rely upon dharma to gaze, then you will lose ways of looking at things and not see one thing. Therefore, the classic of the old one, Lao Ching, says, established virtue is like laziness. These words draw us into emptiness. Established virtue is like laziness. See? Meaning that it's natural. The way becomes a naturalness rather than striving. And the way is naturalness rather than striving. Yes, Reed, that's right. I went through hard times mentally and meditation helped. That's how it was. That's how it appeared to be at that time. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. You know, it's always a real gift and a real inspiration when people take the time to express their appreciation and their investment, their engagement and involvement. It really means a lot to me. Because this is my family. Question: what kind of mind is called craving? Answer: the mind of the common woman. So the mind of the common woman is called craving. Question: what kind of mind is that which is non-arising? Answer: the mind of the hearer. Question: what kind of mind is that which understands the essencelessness of dharmas? Answer: it is the mind of the solitary Buddha. Question: what kind of mind is that which engenders neither understanding nor delusion? Answer: the mind of the Bodhisattva. Question: what kind of mind is that which is not awakened and does not know? No answer. The reason there is no answer is that dharma cannot answer, because dharma is no mind, and an answer is having mind. Dharma is speechless, and an answer is having speech. Dharma is without interpretation, and an answer is interpretation. Dharma is without knowledge, and an answer is having knowledge. Dharma is without this or that, this and that, and an answer is having this and that. Such minds and words are no more than calculations. Dharma is speechless, and an answer is having speech. Dharma is without interpretation, and an answer is interpretation. Dharma is without knowledge, and an answer is having knowledge. Dharma is without this and that, and an answer is having this and that. Such minds and words are no more than calculations, because mind is not a form. It is not connected to forms, and yet mind is not formless and is not connected to formlessness. The mind's not being connected to anything is liberation. If one breaks the prohibitive precepts, he will turn apprehensive. However, if he knows that his mind of anxiety cannot be apprehended, then he will even attain liberation. He will also know that rebirth in a heaven cannot be apprehended. Even though he knows voidness, voidness cannot be apprehended. Even though he knows that nothing can be apprehended, no apprehension cannot be apprehended. So thank you. You pay for my my coffee today, my coffee this morning, John and Michelle. So we're getting worked up into a way of being where we are slowly and gradually becoming familiar with the fact or realizing that we cannot get anything. We cannot apprehend anything. We cannot get a hold of anything, period. If the mind has something to value, it will surely have something to despise. If mind has something that it affirms, it must have something that it negates. If mind takes one thing to be good, then all other things are non-good. If mind has affection for one person, then all other persons become people whom one has a grudge against. Mind does not abide in forms, nor does it abide in formlessness. It does not abide in abiding, nor does it abide in no abiding. If mind has abiding, it will not avoid being roped in. If mind has a place where it functions, then it is bondage. If mind values dharmas, dharmas will keep you back. If mind honors one dharma, mind necessarily will have something that it considers inferior. When you try to grasp the meaning of the sutras and treatises, you should not value understanding. If there are places that you understand, then your mind has something to be connected to. If mind has something to be connected to, then it is bondage. The sutras say it is not through inferior, middle, or superior dharmas that one attains nirvana. Even though mind has entered delusion, you must not produce a thought of delusionlessness. If mind discriminates, rely on dharma to gaze at the place of discrimination. Whether greed, anger, or stupidity, rely on dharma to gaze at the place they arise from. Not seeking the place they arise from is cultivating the path. If there is a rising of mind, then investigate, and relying on dharma, tidy up. Question. In cultivating and attaining the path of enlightenment, are some slow and some quick? Answer. They are separated by millions of eons. In the case of those for whom mind is the path, it is quick. For those practitioners who produce the thought of enlightenment and practice, it is slow. People of sharp abilities know that mind is the path. People of dull abilities seek everywhere for the path, but lack knowledge of its location. Moreover, they do not know that mind from the outset is unexcelled perfect enlightenment. Question. What about quickly attaining the path? Answer. Mind is the substance of the path, and so one quickly attains the path. When the practitioner herself realizes that delusion has arisen, then relying on dharma, she gazes and brings about its exhaustion. Question. Isn't this why we're all here anyway, to quickly attain the path? That's what I want. Answer. Mind is the substance of the path, and so one quickly attains the path. When the practitioner herself realizes that delusion has arisen, then, relying on dharma, she gazes and brings about its exhaustion. Well, what is mind? What is space? What is matter? It's still calculations, ice cream. So it's like not seeing your own face in the mirror. It's like missing your face that is on your own skull. Did you misplace it? Did someone take off your face and put it somewhere else? Is your skull over there and your face over here? No. Now question, how is mind the substance of the path? Answer, mind is unconscious, like trees or stone. It is as if there were someone who painted dragons and tigers with his own hand, and yet, upon looking at them, became frightened. Deluded people are also like this. The brush of thought and consciousnesses paints razor mountains and sword forests. And yet it is thought and the consciousnesses that fear them. If you are fearless in mind, then false thoughts will be eliminated. The brush of mind and the consciousnesses discriminates and draws forms, sounds, smells, tastes, and touchables, and upon looking at them in turn produces greed, anger, and stupidity. Sometimes it is fascinated and sometimes repelled. Due to the discriminations of thought, mind, and the consciousnesses, various sorts of karma are in turn produced. If you can realize that thought and the consciousnesses from the outset have been void quiescent, and also avoid seeing the locus of the arising of thought and the consciousnesses, then you are cultivating the path. Good, EK, very good. Welcome. Some, by discriminations of their own mind, draw tigers, wolves, lions, poisonous dragons, evil spirits, the generals of the 5 paths of rebirth, King Yama, the ox-headed guards of hell, and the hell of the sound of cold. These things are discriminated by their own minds, but they are then controlled by these things, and so they undergo various sufferings. Realize that whatever mind discriminates is merely forms. If you awaken to the fact that mind from the outset has been void quiescent, and know that mind is not itself a form, then mind is unconnected. Forms are not forms, they are constructed in the manner of an illusion by your own mind. If you merely realize that they are not real, then you attain liberation. Now we go back again to established virtue is like laziness. Established virtue is like laziness. And Michelle, as you know, many of those people are being, I don't know if it's the same as it is in the US, but those people are being extremely exploited. Actually, it's probably a lot less worse in the UK than it is in the US because of the privatized healthcare system in the US. But, you know, these people that are so wonderful and have so much to teach and share are deeply, deeply exploited. So it'd be much better if we could exploit them for the path, but so it is. Yes, EK, that's right. And definitely let go to that. Let go of that. That's just gibberish, ice cream. However, there is a sutra about discernment. In darkness there is lightness, but do not confuse it as lightness or darkness. In the light there is the dark, but do not confuse it as the dark or light. As we chase forms, we miss out on enlightenment.
You, this Guogang, always thinking about changing. You have to correct this.
咱们这个今天立这规矩，无论谁要是想要走的话，大家吃饭的饭钱呢。
Today we are setting this rule. No matter who wants to leave, they must cover the costs of everyone's meals.
咱们一天吃一顿饭，但是还有水果，又有这个有那个，很多这七拼八凑的，大家也要很多钱。
We only eat one meal a day, but there's also fruit, as well as many of this and that, odds and ends, putting together, which probably also add up to quite a lot of money.
所以你谁要是愿意拿这些个人所用的钱呢，你就走。
So, if anyone is willing to pay for what everyone has used, then you can leave. Okay. Let's see. So the master continued. He says, we're not doing Chanchi. I only explained to you the Chanchi rules, but they also can be applied to the Wan Yin Chi that they were practicing. You're not allowed to leave the Chan Hall, the Buddha Hall. If you go out, you'll be beaten. Okay, and I don't know what he's talking about here. He says it wasn't announced that this rule is too strict. You didn't make that announcement until we came here. But now that you've come here, now we inform you of the rule. You can't leave. Okay? Yes, go first.
Master, I think the previous slide, the translation had it backwards. I think it was meant to say, Master Shenhua was saying the ruler didn't say you can go once you came. So 没有写着说你来了才可以走. Just means that, yeah.
Yeah, once you come, you can't leave. You can't go. You can't leave. Same thing. Okay? It says the rules wasn't announced before I came. That I didn't know once I come, I cannot leave. I cannot go. All right? And so he continues, if we allow you to leave, to go, then there's a catch. You have to pay for the food. That's been consumed so far. And food for everyone has been eaten. Then if you can't pay, then you can't leave. Why is that? Because you leave, you go, then others will follow suit. They want to go too. And then it will destroy this way place, destroy this Guan Yin Qi. And that's a very grave offense. Okay? And so, in order to compensate for that, if you leave, then you should create merit and virtue by paying for the food. Chinese logic, I don't understand this logic, honestly. Okay? For me personally, I'd be so desperate to leave. Let me pay, let me get out of here. Okay, enough is enough. And so it would not stop me, okay, at all. So, but anyway, for him, I think would have worked. Yes, DTT.
Di Đà Phật, con nghĩ cái không cho đi á, thứ nhất là Hòa Thượng nói đúng là không cho bỏ đi làm lộn xộn, khác bỏ đi là đúng rồi. Và cái phía sau cái đó đó, khi mình rời đi rồi mình về phòng mình nằm mình nghỉ ngơi đó, nó phải tu không có kết quả. Cái người chủ thất người ta muốn mình ở đó tu cho tinh tấn, chỉ đi vào đêm giờ đâu mình ngủ là thôi. Con tham gia 3 ngày thiền với Miến Điện cũng như vậy đó, không có được rời thiền đường, chỉ được ban đêm hết giờ về ngủ. Còn lúc mà một chiều với mình không được rời trời. Lý do là mình về mình quể quải mình nằm tới nằm lui mình vô mình giống như là nó nhão đi, nó không còn tinh tấn nữa. Người ta muốn mình thành công.
Amitabha Master, so I think that what Master Shenhua is saying is correct. When you go back to your room, you lie down, you feel very tired, you relax, you become relaxed, so then cultivation will not come to accomplishment, to fruition. So in the host of the retreat want us to be vigorous. So then I personally participated in 3 days of meditation with Myanmar. They also, except for when you go to rest at night and at noon time, then that'll be okay, but the rest of the time you cannot go out, because the reason behind it is once you lie down, you become very relaxed and you are no longer vigorous. So they want us to be accomplished. That's why they enforce the rule.
Very good. Yeah, thank you for your input. How many people were there at that retreat?
Shut
in
up and
Myanmar?
listen.
Đó 3 ngày đó.
Cỡ 70-80 người á thầy.
Wow, that's a lot of food to be consumed, so forget it. Okay, very good. Yes, I agree. The concept there is very good. But based on the Chinese technology here, it's not just the vigorous. It's still not there. It's also the fear. The fear of being beaten up. It's about not vigor alone, but also instilling fear in your mind, so that the ego cannot, you don't allow the ego to misbehave. So that's why the beating is very, very important. It's not leaving, it's the beating. Let me assure you, we got to give it a try. I understand, because I've been learning more about how your mind functions and so forth, and I've been observing you as well. You, I really feel it's a very, very special Dharma door. And it really works for us if you're willing to, as Holmes says, sign a contract. Okay, yeah, it's interesting. The old monk says he participated in the Myanmar those retreat for 3 days, and it's true that you don't you follow the schedule and you do that. It really puts you into that mode. Okay, but it's still not enough. It's the strictness and the beating that really, really works. Let me tell you. Okay, and so, but also, must see. Were they speaking Dharma in the evening for you too, or no?
Tức là mỗi người sau tới giờ chiều phải lên báo cáo với ông chủ thuyền là mình qua những giai đoạn thế nào. Rồi mỗi người để cái tên phía sau, cái số phía sau chỗ mình ngồi á. Thì tới chiều xuất phát thì ông kêu lên cái số mấy rồi chiều làm cái gì. Như phê bình vậy đó, không thay giờ đánh mà người ta kiểm soát rất là kỹ. Số mấy rồi chiều giờ làm cái gì. Rồi thí dụ mình thấy cảnh giới nào phải lên báo cáo với ông chủ thất là như thế nào đó. Đi bước cái chân thế nào, cái tay thế nào, cái cơ thể mình hoạt động ra sao thì họ làm cho mình coi. Còn không có vấn đề, nhưng mà Việt Nam mời qua bên Biên Hòa, còn tham gia tại Việt Nam mấy thầy biết liền qua.
Basically, every participant after late afternoon, after a period, so and so, what happened to them, they have to report to the retreat the host of the retreat, and at evening time before the Dharma talk, they will have a comment about each participant. They have to report to the host what happened to them, what's going on, what state that they are in, and they have to report everything. Even with each walk, how the hands and the legs and the body functions, so and so, they have to report it. I personally did not go to Myanmar, but Vietnam invited the Myanmar monks to come to Binghua. So then I have a chance to participate with them.
Okay, very good. Thank you for sharing that experience with us. I've never been to a Hinayana meditation practice, so I have no idea. Okay, but for now, what I heard so far, it's not as good as our style, the Chinese style of practice. Of course, they have their reasons, but for me personally, I don't necessarily feel that's productive for you to report your personal experiences. Especially some of you are crazy. You experience all sorts of afflictions and imagined states. Some of you have invisible friends. And you can spend time, you can waste your entire day writing reports about nonsense. Okay? And so I would not go there at all, because much more important for you to listen to words of wisdom, like right now, from a person who has prasya wisdom. We don't care to hear from you, by the way. Whatever you tell us doesn't matter. Think about it. Right now, whatever you're writing to us should be beaten up. You're not supposed to write anything, if you ask me. Okay? If I ask you what experience you went through today and you wrote it down, I will beat you up right then. You understand? It's called false thinking. How dare you? I beat you up so that you don't dare think. Anyway, I can be nice. Just go first. This is a different technology, let me tell you. It's the same. You go to this university, the way you teach you, it tells you about how much mastery they have on how to train you, how to form you, how to form your mind. It's very important. That's why I hear these things, I say, there's a problem there. There's a serious problem there, because why would I allow you to spend even 15 minutes or 20 minutes, half an hour to report to me your stupidities? I don't care to know what your stupid mind is thinking or what it experiences. Because during the day I beat you up already so that you don't think about those things. I don't need to hear from you. Got it? You see, once you understand the process of what it takes to train you, to help you, you eliminate a lot of these things. This is why the Chinese Chan masters are the best I've seen so far. Better than Taiwanese, better than whatever I've seen. Japanese, Taiwanese, and so forth. Okay? The Chinese by far are the most brutal. I love it. Anyone? Hey, so go for us. You still want to try the beating?
Yes, Master. I have an opinion. I wonder that I allowed to say that or not allowed to say.
Yeah, you can say something, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Master. I have some experience and with practice in Hinayana, Chanchi or retreat.
Okay.
And also I have seen, some of my co-cultivator who have been whoever cultivated with us, and I want to be.
Now you can see, this is the backwardsness of the mind that does not have right view. So this person is an attendee, a part of the assembly. They are following this Master Yonghua. They listened to them for a long time, right? Directly after Master Yonghua says, "Don't tell me your bullshit. I will beat you. I will beat you up if you do it, and I already beat you up so that you don't do it." Directly after, someone raised their hand. "Okay, I'm ready to share my experience." So, it's easy to think we understand, but actually, that thinking you understand means that you're always not understanding many things and kind of always backwards minded.
Celebrity of our experience. And my experience with Hinayana retreat that I participated once a few years back. It will be very easy if you already been through our program here. Over there, you sit in comfortable position for about an hour, and then you walk slowly for another hour, and you go back and you sit in comfortable position. You can do that. For us, we can do that, for days, but their schedule is like.
This is Michelle training methodology. So there are many different forms and ways of training methodology. But if you go to someone else's house and you start commenting on either their toilet or how they use their toilet, it just doesn't make any sense. That's their house. So there are many ways of practice. There are many ways of training. And this is actually a very important way of training, this intensity. As Master Yonghua was saying about, it's one of the best things to be beaten. It's one of the best things to be torn apart, to go through that fear, to go through that crumbling of the ego in whatever way, because we learn the stupidity of the ego. We learn the stupidity of seeking. We learn the stupidity of holding a position based on our personal perspective.
It is good.
And so why is it ridiculous to comment on the food that you're being served at someone else's house? It's a matter of consent. You have chosen to be the guest and receive a meal in someone else's house. So the stupidity is not in your right or lack of right to protest. It's that you've already showed up to receive what's being offered. And your critique about what's being offered is not as important as the offering itself, naturally. But if you go, you have to pay for everyone's meals.
Ý vào cảm giác của mình. Đau thì qua nó tăng nhưng mà cũng chẳng đau lắm. Thì sáng 5:30 con nghe thầy giới đánh răng ở cái bên đó. Thì hồi mở mắt ra là 5:30 chiều rồi. Nó nhanh như là mình làm thức rất là nhanh, mà tôi nghĩ 12 tiếng đồng hồ rồi. Thì sau đó là xảy ra là toàn thân nó nhẹ như bông quần, không đói, không mệt, không buồn ngủ, mà 13 ngày đêm. Con định là ngồi luôn 1 tháng thì thầy không cho, tại ra hư chân để kêu con ra. Thì cái pháp của mình là kiết già, không bùng ra, thì pháp mình nó có cái lợi hơn như vậy.
So the Hinayana Dharma, they have a proof relies on Venerable Ananda. It is the day that they are first gathering and compiling the sutra. After the Buddha entered Nirvana, Venerable Kashyapa does not allow him to participate in the compiling of the sutra. because he did not attend arhatship. So then he, after Venerable Kashyapa kicked him out of the assembly, so he, for days, he spent just looking and mindful of his comportments, walking and his body, his hands, and everything. And so up to a day that when he was very tired, he was about to take a break. So he lied a little bit, and then somehow he attend arhatship and have a sudden awakening. And then after that, he went back to the assembly. So that dharma is based on that. With our dharma, I learned. I did not learn directly, but I learned the fasting dharma from Venerable Shinran back then, how to fast. And she said.
So one of the practices that's actually very vital and powerful is to suffuse the mind of the teacher with your own mind, right? To bring the teacher's mind into yourself and to meditate in that interbeing of no separation with the teacher's mind and your own mind.
That seventh mantra. So the first 3 days it was painful, but then after that, in the morning, I heard that Venerable Shinche was brushing his teeth, and somehow 12 hours passed by very fast. I don't know what happened, and then right after that, my body become very light, just like a cotton ball, and I don't feel sleepy, nothing at all. And that state remained for 13 days, and so that's the benefit of our Dharma that I know.
Yeah, so each Dharma door is different for different types of people. For example, Ananda is not very good in meditation. That's why he was taught to meditate while walking and being mindful of his, every single movement of his body when he walked. That's fine. There's what's called walking meditation that works as well, only because Ananda is no good in meditation. Okay, if Ananda had more blessings, he would be taught a different or better Dharma door on how to meditate. That's precisely the point. The point here I'm trying to share with you is that in Mahayana, our methodologies, our Dharma doors are a lot more rigorous, a lot more demanding, and that's why you will go, or you get there a lot sooner, and you go a lot further. That's a difference. Okay, there's no comparison like the other person who talked. Absolutely, it's night and day. If you compare Hinayana meditation versus Chan training, you cannot be compared, okay, at all. It's like child's play to us, okay, and I feel that this happens to not just, it's a spirit behind that's kind of disappointing to me, is that these people who learn about these methods, they didn't really have an awakening like Ananda, okay, and I don't know how Ananda would teach his students after, okay, later on, I have no clues, okay, but my point here is that it may have worked for Ananda, but it's probably not a good thing for us. It's just not good enough for us. And I was curious as to what Ananda would be teaching, how he would teach his students how to meditate after. I'm curious about it. Even so, whatever he experienced, it's not, he wasn't trained by in the Mahayana Chan tradition. Okay, so that's why it's
I would not be willing to spend time going to a Hinayana Chan hall myself, meditation hall myself, because I noticed when I heard of the stories and how people are taught to meditate, these people in Hinayana, I look at them and say, oh, you do walking meditation, you don't do full lotus, and the one.
So it's a big lesson in manners that we learn firstly where we are. So we go to someone else's house and we're offered a meal. Don't complain about it. Eat it or get out. And if you come to someone's house regularly and you're eating the food and you're not paying up, or you're not staying and practicing, which are one and the same, it's a little bit foolish. There's some incongruency in that within yourself, which I think anyone can understand. Just because something is offered freely, it doesn't mean that there's not a price to pay. A lot went into this. A lot went into Master Yonghua's teaching and his Dharma doors and my Dharma doors. And if you make use of those Dharma doors and come in to eat, don't complain or get out, and make use of it seriously. Pay up. It's not for entertainment. It's not for the teacher's ego. There's nothing wrong with different strokes for different folks. And it's not really about better or worse, but it is making use of what's here skillfully and effectively. So that is equality with discernment, instead of equality without discernment, which is just foolishness. And you might get lucky and think the right thing or say the right thing, but it's still just ego-bound. Until we start to practice self-sacrifice and until we start to practice generosity, it's just ego-bound. Does that make sense? So we'll finish our live here. See you again next time.